Everybody faces a test sometime in life. This may goad us. God tests our caliber and also brings out our fullest potential. He equips us to shoulder the tasks that we believe are beyond our capacity. This was what I realized as I was going through the tough times. Divine ordinance etched in stone. In the US, I have not faced any discrimination on the grounds of color, appearance, or nationality. I try to observe their culture, practices, and habits and imbibe the good values and traditions as I believe we have to emulate the good wherever it is. That's why I have been always very careful and prefer to sincerely learn more than the locals and relentlessly work harder than they. By nature, I believe in being good and practice it too. Neither do I go by any stubborn dogma. My colleague friends and presidents of the hospitals often jocularly remark, Dr. Nori kills us by his good nature. Mostly because of my parents, the way they brought me up, and being from a big joint family of many siblings, I must have been imbued with that kind of nature and courteousness. Although sometimes I may have become angry with some people or about certain circumstances, it has never been intense. I read somewhere, anger is like cinders in our hands. Even before we throw it upon somebody else, it burns us. How true. Therefore, I don't carry anger too long. It's not my nature. This attitude has helped me a lot. Not only my equals, but also those above me in the hierarchy were always courteous and affectionate towards me. Encouraging me from teaching to research, they stood by me. Although my co-doctors, other staff and patients hail from diverse countries with diverse backgrounds, I have been able to seamlessly mingle with them. Nevertheless, however good we are, there might be people unjustifiably jealous of us. I also faced such incidents once or twice in my life. There had been one or two characters that had been waiting to catch me on a wrong foot. An Israeli youth worked as a fellow with me. We jointly authored a paper. After his returning to his country, he authored another paper using some material from our joint work. Perhaps he made a mistake. Taking advantage of the situation, people there raised a storm accusing me of committing a blunder. We should also reassess all the papers Dr. Nori has published in the past, they insisted. Hence, the hospital appointed a committee to go through my papers. There were about 300 scientific publications. The committee closely perused and examined all of them repeatedly. It took almost 2 years and they could not find an iota of wrongdoing. I maintained a measured silence with patience all through. Finally, the committee totally exonerated me, attributing whatever mistakes only to the Israeli doctor and confirming that I didn't have any role in such misfeasance. I emerged unscathed and blemish free. I always firmly believed, both by word and deed, that only hard work, quality, and sincerity would take one to places. I have practiced what I believed. For me, respect is more important than money. I'm not a glass is half empty pessimist, but a strong glass is half full optimist. I always kept a distance from naysayers. I believe that if our intent is good, God also dispenses blessings favorably. I like those people who work with the conviction to make the glass full. If anything is achieved in the world, it's made possible only by them. The origin of all my strong convictions lies in the spirituality and the devotion to the God Almighty that I have inherited from my parents. Spirituality and daily life were not separate from them, but seamlessly merged into one. I see God in every act. I inherited this belief from them. Every morning before I set out to my work, I pray to the Supreme Divinity. I urge Him to equip me with the caliber to examine and treat my patients with the appropriate remedy and the patients with the ability to quickly recover from their ailment and return home. I firmly believe that beyond medicine and science, there is a force which is supreme, and we call it God. That's why I never leave home without offering my prayers to God. My wife Subhadra also knows by heart the prayer of the sun Aditya Hridayam. The sun as a source of good health is a faith for ages. I resolved to initiate a few good things in memory of my late parents. As a first step in 1998, Subhadra and I started a charitable trust named Nori Foundation. The objective was to provide education and medical aid to the needy as well as other services to society. In the process, the idea to construct a temple in the US to Shirdi Sai Baba was considered. I have been a strong devotee of Shirdi Sai Baba from my medical college days at Kurnool. Whenever I spent some time in the precincts of Sai Temple on the banks of river Tungabhadra, I used to feel reinvigorated by some great force. There is no doubt about Shirdi Sai's divinity. He was not limited to a few holy chants and miracles, but was a humanist. He resented blind faith. He paved the way of life beyond or transcending castes and religions. He led a simple life where he could witness God in every living being, be it human, be it an animal. Anybody in the world can easily follow his philosophy and aphorisms. I wanted to disseminate that philosophy of universal love and religious harmony in the West also. Perhaps God was willing. It is not an easy endeavor to construct a temple in the US. There are many rules and restrictions. Temples can be built only in the specific zones earmarked for prayer halls. Apart from other regulations, parking space is one of the conditions. I needed such a place nearby New York, but one was not available, however hard we had tried. One morning on a Thursday, in my mind, I had a quarrel with the God. Today is the last day. If you can't show me a suitable place today, I may shelve the very idea of constructing a temple for you. It was a childlike internal squabbling. Meanwhile, a patient who had been treated 15 years ago came for a routine checkup that day. As a final resort, I inquired of her, "What do you do?" "Surprise. I am in the real estate business, doctor. If you need anything, kindly tell me," she answered. I silently thanked God and told her that I was looking for a place with adequate parking for a temple in an appropriate zone. The moment I reach my office from here, I will search, find out, and tell you about the availability of that kind of place, she assured me. As promised, she found a property and also fixed an appointment with the seller. The same day, I went and made an agreement to buy it. This was in the year 2001, and so the construction of the temple started. When I went to India, my aunt and uncle took me to a Baba temple at Panjagutta in Hyderabad and introduced me to a retired professor who was supervising the activities of the temple there. He offered to help me in my temple construction work. The sculptor's family who made the statue at Shirdi in India made a statue of about 6 feet tall, 4 feet wide, and weighing about 3 tons for my temple. Pembati sculptors made ornamental accessories such as a crocodile banner, a silver throne, carvings for the canopy, and lions very similar to those of the Shirdi temple. The statue of Baba arrived in the US. The professor and the so-called guru from Hyderabad came to the US for the inauguration of the mandir. I don't know what had corrupted his mind. In a few months, he filed a case against me in the US claiming that the US temple belonged to him and demanded a whopping 50 million US dollars from me as compensation. The case went on for 6 months, and after listening to the arguments from both sides, the court with 12 jurors gave a unanimous verdict favorable to me. Also, he was barred from entering the US. It's not out of place to mention that upon specific inquiry by the presiding judge about the unanimity of the jurors on the verdict, they answered that they could not find an iota of culpability from a person of Dr. Nori's stature. During those 6 months, severe despair and depression had taken over me. Several questions used to plague me, such as, why all these problems when I endeavored to do something good? Would I fail to pay back the loan and the down payment on time? But every time I began to despair, I was able to obtain a timely resolution and solace. Everybody faces a test time sometime in life. This may goad us. God tests our caliber and also brings out our fullest potential. He equips us to shoulder the tasks that we believe are beyond our capacity. This was what I realized as I was going through the tough times. Surpassing all stumbling blocks, construction of Sai Temple was completed. On July 4, 2002, the process of divine installation was completed. Thereafter, I was able to get one more chance to build a temple again. Now, the chance was given by Sainath alone. In 2008, I constructed one more temple in Iselin in the state of New Jersey. It was named Shirdi Sai Cultural and Community Center. In both of the above temples, separate abodes have been carved for Lord Ganesh, Navagrahas, and Goddess Lakshmi. 8 traditional Vedic scholars from India came to the US and conducted daily puja and rituals in the most religious way. They meticulously follow the same procedure of worship, rituals, and installation in divine light as is being done at Shirdi in India. In 2019, I established the third Sai Mandir in Hicksville, Long Island, New York. The objective of these 3 temples is to disseminate the values that Sainath preached and the sincerity and patience he practiced. They always inspire me to further progress in the path of service. However hard I toil, the moment I go to any of those temples, the tranquility prevailing there gives me huge relief. They do not have any board or board of directors. They simply follow the ordinance of Sainath. These 3 mandirs are not limited only to worship and any religious vows, but also have become centers of culture. They run programs called Bala Vikas to inculcate good values in children. They also teach Indian traditional music and classical dances. To learn these in the US, students from 3 years old to 15 years have thronged there. Teachers have voluntarily joined and taken up that responsibility. Over the last 20 years, many Swamijis and orators of religious discourse have visited the temples. They blessed the devotees with their religious preaching. Many a singer came and worshipped Sai with their rendering of divine nectar. Pandit Jasraj spent hours together and sang in ecstasy in the divine presence of the Lord. I can't claim that this was done solely by me or that I alone constructed those temples. I was only a tool to spread the good deeds of Sai Baba through those temples. When so many challenges and stumbling blocks stayed in my face, the fact that I was still able to overcome them only strengthened and increased my belief in Baba. I would like to acknowledge with my sincere thanks the continued support of Sri Pailla Mallareddy and his wife Sadhana Garu, Sri Anumolu Subbarao and his wife Rajeshwari Garu, Amit and Veena Shah, Kanak and Prabha Golia, and Dr. and Mrs. Tarun Vaselu. At this juncture, I have to recollect those dedicated devotees of Baba who unfailingly and unconditionally helped me in the construction of the temples. Vijaya Malladi, Nori Balasubramanyam and Ananta, Nori Girish and Anuradha, Tadepalli Ramesh and Shanada, Nori Vasanta, Kalluri Sujata and Gopal, Pindiala Chandu and Suma, Neppalli Venku, Yamijala Kalyan and Janaki, Neppalli Prasadarao and Lakshmi, Nanduri Annapurna and Sudhakar, Murali Kajur, Nori Srinivas and Arundhati, Lanka Kutumbarao and Rani, Lanka Ramanand and Kalyani, and Kiran and Vinod Motwani and Priya Pisipati. They always stood by me during that time and continue to do so even now. Nori Foundation cherishes these goals to enhance human values, harmoniously bridge diverse cultures, and strive for good in unity.